Now, I was reading an article just the other day and it was talking about this footballer, and I thought he was a little bit silly, stupid, I actually thought, because he was talking about that no matter what country he goes to, he eats the street food. And when he eats the street food, he says, without exception, I'm sick the next day or two. Now, that's being a bit silly, and you have to be a little careful, but by God, I've had some good street food in my life. I remember being in London when I was young, and I went to this street corner just in one of the suburbs, and they had this whole lamb that they were cooking on a spit, and it was dripping into the coals. It was beautiful, and then they just sliced slices, and you could say, oh look, I'd like some pink stuff, or I'd like some well done, whatever, and they served it in some flatbread with some really nice garlic yogurt. Absolutely wonderful. But that is not what we're doing today. We're doing a Murtabak, which I also have had on the street in Malaysia, which is a really nice roti that's full of a spiced mince. And that was absolutely brilliant. Oh, and actually talking about good street food, Singapore is the place, because you know they're very fussy about the cleanliness of even their street vendors, and they have health checks of them. And Thailand, I had some beautiful, different types of patties, I suppose you'd call them. One with mussels, one with sweet corn, and just done in a flat wok, a fairly flat one over a huge flame. Now, aren't you glad I've shared that all to you? But let's talk about a Murtabak, which is exactly what I'm doing today. And as I said, I absolutely adored that the time I had it, because it was just tasty. It didn't blow your head off, but it just had a bit of flavour to it. And first of all, we start off, we've got about half an onion, a couple of chilies there, which I have sliced, and I've taken the seeds out. You leave the seeds in if you like. It really is up to you guys. It depends how hot you want it, doesn't it? So we're just going to saute that. We're going to add a couple of good, nice plump cloves of garlic in with that as well, and also some ginger. There's nice spices in this, but as I said, it doesn't blow your head off. The whole idea is you're giving it a nice fragrant feel, which to me is what really good food is about, isn't it? I'm not a great fan of food that's so hot that your lips go numb. I can't quite see that, except maybe in Thailand. I have had some very hot dishes in Thailand, which I thought, ooh, that was nice. All right, so a good knob of ginger. I still remember the flavour of that lamb. Actually, I went back the next year, because I used to go to London quite a lot, because my brother lived there in those days. And I used to go there, and I went back the next year thinking, oh, and it turns out it was highly illegal. They didn't have any permits, and they'd done a runner. I don't know where they'd gone to, but I never found them again. But you think about it. We have our souvlaki and our shawarmas, and they're sort of very strange bits of meat in those. But this was the whole lamb. Delightful. Right, so we've got our ginger in there, and to that we're then going to add some spices. Now, what I've got here, I've got a few things here. What I've got is a cinnamon stick, a couple of whole cloves, 3 cardamom pods, which I've just bashed a bit. And I've also got ground cumin, turmeric, and ground coriander. And to that we're also going to add sambal oelek or any chili paste. Saute this, and we're just trying to release the aromas of all those spices. You always toast them, so it releases them. And then I've got 750 grams of lamb mince. Now the whole thing with the lamb mince is please mash it up a bit, because you don't want big lumps of raw lamb mince in this. And look, anytime you're using mince in something like this, whether you're making a bolognese sauce or you're making this, you do have to mash it. You can use a potato masher if you like, but there's only a small amount. There's 750 grams there, so because of that, I can use my wooden spoon. Of course you could make a smaller portion, because the name of the show is Cooking for One, but hey, what a waste not to have some of this sitting in the freezer in one of your takeaway containers, so you can use it another time. Or you can make those lovely little pastries, or even a pasty type thing. When I say the little pastries, using the bought frozen pastry, and just cut it out into rounds or squares. So keep on mashing, and make sure you don't burn the garlic and ginger and spices and things. So all I'm trying to do is cook this until it changes colour, which seals in all the juices. About half a cup of chicken stock, and we also need some salt. We can double check the salt content later on, but we need some now. And we'll also double check whether we need some pepper later on. But I actually thought this article about the footballer was really quite funny. He said he does it every time. He said, then I'm sick. Oh, what a wonderful idea. Great to go on a holiday. We're going to cook this down until it's thick and fragrant. And you know, I keep saying about this fragrant bit. And somebody said to me the other day, they said, what do you mean fragrant? I said, I promise you, you'll smell it. And you really will. You'll smell when the odour... It's a bit like that wonderful Lucio who owns the Italian restaurant in Paddington, I think it is, if I remember rightly, in Sydney. And he talks about making bolognese sauce to the nose. You can smell when the next step. I've never mastered that, but I can tell you I will know when this is thick and fragrant and it's full of wonderful flavours. I'll chop up some coriander. Now I need a bit because I'm also making a nice yogurt to go on top of this. Right, let's just put some of that in there. The rest of it's going to go into the mince. I've also got some Greek yogurt, which I'm going to throw in. So I'm just making a coriander yogurt with a bit of lemon juice in it as well. And I'll also put the rest of the lemon in here. See how we go with that. We can come back to that if we need more lemon at the end. So I've got lemon, coriander and yogurt. You can put garlic in if you like. I don't think it needs it because the dish itself is going to have a bit of spice. You need a little bit of tartness. You know, you've got your spices, got all these nice flavours, but you need a little bit of tartness just to give it a bit of life. I reckon that will take 10 minutes or so, and then we'll be back. Now this is looking rather good. A little bit more lemon, I reckon. The rest of that coriander can go in. I've also got some frozen peas, which I have thawed, and we'll throw those in as well. About half a cup. Yeah, that's nice. Doesn't need any salt, and it certainly doesn't need any pepper because it's got plenty of spice, and I'll just put that to the side. Just over there for the second. And we'll put this on now then, a little bit more veggie oil in that. So I've got a pan here that can go into the oven. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a roti in there. Rotis normally come square. I know that. But what I've done, I'm a clever little fella. I've cut it in a round so that it looks a bit more attractive when it goes on the plate. And what we do then is we bring this back, put a layer of this on the roti. Not too much. You know, it's like when you're making a quesadilla, you don't get all excited and put 3 tongues on, otherwise it doesn't work. And pretty close to the edge, but not completely. Leave a little edge there. And then we put the other roti on the top. We start the cooking process, and then I'm going to turn it over, shove it in the oven. 180 degrees the oven is on. There you go. That's good, because that's just nice softening without too much colour. Shove it in the oven, 10 minutes will be great, and then we'll be out. All right, guys, we're looking pretty good. So you can see, oh, that's nice. Got a bit of colour, it's nice and fluffy. And then what we're gonna do is just put a decent amount of this over the top. And when you're serving it, even if for yourself or if you want to share it with a friend, if you've got a friend, any extra yogurt, just put on the side. Now, to go with this, a lovely French wine, a Côte de Rhône from Le Trois Clefs. Now, this is basically a Grenache, which I noticed is becoming popular again in Australia. For many years, Grenache was just used for fortified wines and things, or as a mixer. And it's back in popularity a bit, because I saw the wine wizard of Oz, James Halliday, raving about Grenache just the other day, and he said it was supple, delicate, low in tannin, and it'd be perfect for this dish, because this dish is fragrant without being spicy. A Côte de Rhône or any Australian Grenache. Hope you enjoy.